Hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Rae-SMR. Today we're going to be talking about my best books of the year and my 5-star reviews. Last week we talked about all the horrible books in the world. Every single book that's ever been horrible in the world. We talked about it last week. So if you want to be hateful, you know where to go. Last week's video. If you want to be loving and appreciative, today's video is the video for you. So let me get out my trusty computer. Okay, my computer's down here. We're gonna go into Storycraft like we always freaking do, and we are going to tap the book in. My cat is clawing at the door, so I'm gonna ignore her because her food's gonna come out in like 5 minutes. She'll go away. I love her though. Okay, so let's go to Storygraph. I need to stop editing this box. Okay. Okay. Angle the mic a little bit more. Alright, let's talk about all the books that were great so far. As I'm filming this, I am 2 books away from my goal. My goal is 70. I'm at 68. Blessings. I've been reading all short books this month because I needed to read like 9. And that wasn't gonna happen if I was reading like big books. And for some reason, I'm really put off of reading big books right now, like longer books, because the commitment of reading the book, I feel like there's so many books that I want to read, and my TBR is so long at this point where I'm like scared to read any books because I feel like it would take away from the time that I have to read other books. I don't know how that works, but that's just where I am right now. But okay, let me shut the book up. Once again, we're gonna start with honorable mentions. This book I actually read 2 days ago. It is Recitative. Sorry, I'll slow down. By Toni Morrison. I absolutely adored this book. This is my first Toni Morrison by choice. My first one I actually ever read was Beloved for school in 9th grade. Well, I think it was junior year. But I was not paying attention. When it's a school book, I can't. So this one was my first time I ever read one, and it was short. And this book is about 2 girls and kind of how they come in, well, kind of their meetings. Okay, so they were friends when they were little in this orphanage, and then they left the orphanage, and it like showcases a couple times when they meet in the real world outside of the orphanage as they get older. Now, I think this book takes place during the 60s. I don't know, but there's a lot of like racial context in this book. But the catch of the book is that it's about one white girl and one black girl, and she doesn't tell you, Toni Morrison doesn't tell you which one is which. And I think that was really interesting and a really good concept because it made me think. I feel like if the book was about a black girl and a white girl, and I knew that they were black and or white, it would have lost its charm a little bit, because I personally really struggle with reading slavery and like racism books, if that makes any sense, because like I said in my video for what I read in November, when it comes to black people and like media, for some reason we are always showcased, and the stories that are being told are like slavery and like suffering. There are obviously some like happy movies about black people, but like all of, like the main ones are just so like, so I try to stay away from that because I just don't want to read about my people being slaves. I don't know, I feel like that makes sense. But anyway, this wasn't about slavery, so I don't know what that tangent was even about. But yeah, I think it was really interesting trying to figure out which girl was which, and I still don't know. The next book that was one of the bangers of the year is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. This one is the one that I read. This is actually the book that I was talking about when I talked about the fact that I don't read racism, slavery books, because it makes me feel icky. This is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. It's about a trans woman and a TERF woman who are trying to figure out what this haunted house did because I really liked the way it was written. I really liked the story. I thought it was very interesting, and I couldn't really put it down. And yeah, it's like a haunted house, like a sentient house story, and it had some interesting blurbs throughout it, and I enjoyed it a lot, other than the parts that were like really insufferable, like all the phobias, like the homophobia, transphobias, racism, like that part I didn't love, but the way it was written in the story was really what's the word I'm looking for, interesting to me. It kept my attention. So the next honorable mention, I feel like I have a lot of middle of the road books. I'm not saying middle of the road books, I'm saying the goodest of the good, because goodest is definitely a word. I really like The Night Guest by Yale Turnut's Daughter. This is about a woman who wakes up super tired with bruises and cuts, and she's like, why am I waking up so just like tired? Like I cannot figure out why I'm so sleepy. And her friend recommends her getting a Apple Watch type of thing, and she wakes up one night and she has like 40,000 steps. Like she amassed 40,000 steps in the middle of the night. That one I really enjoyed. This is a horror, also a short, not novella. It's 208 pages, but it's pretty short, pretty easy to read. But yeah, I really liked The Night Guest. I would totally recommend it, and I wouldn't look up trigger warnings unless you like really are worried about them, because I feel like the book is such a short book that the trigger warning is gonna give away what happens, especially because it's like a horror mystery book. So if you get like the trigger warnings, you kind of are gonna know. You're kind of gonna know. Okay, the next honorable mention, The Grownup by Gillian Flynn. This was kind of a middle of the road, but whatever, I'll talk about it anyway. This is also a short book. I love a novella. This one's 64 pages, so it actually is short, and it's about a woman who, sorry, my cat's food is dispensing, LOL, but it's about a woman who is a con artist, I believe, and she cons this woman into thinking she's like a clairvoyant, like a medium, I think. She can like cleanse a house, and she's like, okay, come cleanse my house, and then it goes a little bit crazy from there. So yeah, that one is fun. Then another one I want to talk about, I give this one a 4 stars, so I'll talk about it. This is Nyopphobia by Christopher Fowler. This one follows a woman and her husband and her stepdaughter, so the husband's daughter from a previous marriage, and it follows them moving to the Spanish, I cannot remember, I read this in the summertime, but they're moving to some sort of countryside, and it's a very secluded house, and it's a very big, interesting layout. It's a giant house, but they walk in and they notice like the floor plans show that there's a house on one side, and then an exact copy of the house, like adjacent to it, is how the word is. Basically, the houses are connected, but they're one. It's like a symmetry, so it's like one house and the other house are the same exact thing. It's the same house, and the wife cannot get into, like, all the doors are locked and the servants will not give her the keys, and it follows, like, she feels like she sees like feet scurrying and eyes watching her, and she's drawn to this side of the house, but no one will let her in this side of the house. And I think it was really interesting. This is the first one I read after a little bit of a slump, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a horror mystery. The next honorable mention is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I gave this one a 4 star. This one follows, I don't remember what her name is, a woman and a man. The man's name is West. Anna and West. I think. I could be wrong. I'm just going to say Anna for now. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. This is a contemporary rom-com book. And it follows Anna. I feel like her name was not Anna, but Anna and West. And they were previously married for, like, it was like a marriage of convenience. They just married so they could get housing for college. But then after college, they divorced so that they could go on with their lives. They didn't really talk when they lived together. And then one day, West shows up to Anna's house and is like, remember that divorce I told you about? well, I never actually filed the papers. Will you come to my family's island with me for my sister's wedding so I can get this crazy inheritance? Also, my family owns the biggest chain of, grocery stores in the world. So I'm rich as fuck, and you didn't know that. Will you pretend to be my wife? Or, yeah, pretend to be my wife. And it's very interesting. Very, very fun. The next book I'll talk about is, this isn't a 5-star, but I absolutely adored. I thought I gave it a 5-star. 4.75. I'll save it I'll save it because I feel like in my heart it's a 5-star. The next best book, well, honorable mention, is Perfume and Pain by Anna Dorn. This follows a woman who is an author who was recently canceled for saying something out of pocket at a Barnes and Noble press conference, like a question and answer moment, and she's been canceled. So this follows her trying to rebuild her image, and she also is getting her movie it's being adapted into a movie or her book turned into a movie, turning into a TV show or a movie or something. And it follows her meeting a celebrity, and then it follows her moving houses and her breaking up with her girlfriend, and then it showcases some lady moving in next door, and it kind of goes from there. It's really, really fun. It's a literary fiction. It's sapphic, which I read a lot of sapphic books. I love a good sapphic book because girls are just the best. But yeah, it's based off of what is it called? I don't remember. I'm just not gonna say it. I don't remember what it is. But I would totally recommend this one if you're looking for a fun, insufferable girl main character. I'm just a girl, flawed down queen. Literary fiction. I love them. The next honorable mention. The thing is, there aren't that many honorable mentions. I had so many horrible books that I read, and not that many great ones. But I don't know if I want to talk about that. That's kind of middle of the road. Listen for the Lie by Amy Dindera. That one's really fun. This is about a woman who allegedly killed her friend in this small town all these years ago, but she can't remember anything about what happened. And one day she wakes up and sees that there's a famous podcaster starting a podcast about the incident, and he wants to talk to her and bring her back to her hometown. And they kind of go through, she's trying to figure it out, and he's trying to figure it out, and we don't know who did what and what's going on. And he interviews all the townspeople, and it's fun. It's very twisty. It's very easy to read. Yeah, it's a fiction mystery thriller. It's very fast-paced. The next one I'm gonna mention is Piglet by Lottie Hazel. I honestly don't remember this book, so it probably wasn't that great. I remember it. It's about a woman who is a food critic, and she was going to get married. She's about to get married, but her husband just did something really, really bad, and so it follows her trying to decide whether she wants to trying to go through with the marriage while having this new knowledge about her husband. And just that, it really is just a slice of life. She's trying to go through this, figure things out, put on a brave face, pretend like nothing happened, and it just follows her. I don't remember what is it called? Something girl. There's it's a whole genre. It's the, why can't I forget it? Why can't I remember it? I don't know. But yeah, it just follows that, and it's called Piglet because that's her nickname. But I hate that her nickname is Piglet because you're 35 years old. Not that you can't be named Piglet. You can be named Piglet if you're named Piglet. But really, I don't know. If somebody called me Pig, they die. Literally, hey Pig. Whoa. Let's not go 2016 Shane Dawson core. Let's not do that. The next honorable mention is The English Understand Wool by Helen DeWitt. This is 69 pages. Ayo. It's 69 pages long. It is very short. It is a literary fiction about a woman who was adopted. No, wait. I think she was adopted. I actually don't know. A woman. Let me just read what it's about. Basically here, a woman. Okay, I'm just gonna read you the description. Oh, this is really long for this short-ass book. Okay, raised in Marrakech by a French mother and English father, a 17-year-old girl has learned above all to avoid mauvais ton. Bad taste loses something in the translation. What? That's like, it's just French. Okay, one should not ask servants to wait on one during Ramadan. They must have paid leave while one spends the holy month abroad. One must play the piano. If staying at Claridge's, one must regrettably install a clavinova in the suite, so the necessary hours of practice will not be inflicted on fellow guests. One should cultivate weavers of tweed in the outer Hebrides, but have the cloth made up in London. One should buy London in Ireland, but have it made up by Thai seamstresses in Paris, whose genius has been supported by the purchase of suitable premises. All this and much more she has learned, governed by a parent of ferociously lofty standards. But at 17, during the annual Ramadan travels, she finds all assumptions overturned. Will she be able to fend for herself? Will the dictates of good taste suffice when she must deal single-handedly with the sharks of New York? That is not what this book is about. That's actually going to be not what the book is about. It's fun. It's short. I think you should read it. I think it's like so tiny. Just read it get it from Rae-SMR Archive and give it a read. Sorry, that was the worst. I can't remember. I don't want to give it away because it's so short, but I can't remember exactly, and that was not really what it was about, so just kind of pick it up. Tell me what you think. The next honorable mention is Ready or Not by Carabas Stone. This one is about a woman who gets pregnant from a one-night stand with this man who has a girlfriend. So it follows her, the baby daddy, and not really the baby mama, but like her and the baby daddy trying to figure out this unplanned pregnancy together. And it's a comedy romance, and it's her best friend is also there, and her best friend's brother is a big character also. It's really fun. I think that you should read it. Boom. Okay, the next honorable mention is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Was this my first thriller of the year? Kind of. Well, I don't know. Okay. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is really fun. This is about a woman two women meet on a bar on their birthday, and it's both their 30th birthdays, and then this lady becomes obsessed with this other lady because one of the birthday people is a podcaster, and she's like, I'm so cool, interview me. And it follows as the other 40-year-old interviews the other, I don't remember their names, I'm so sorry, I read this in February. The one 40-year-old interviews the other 40-year-old, and they talk about life, and she tells the one lady tells the other lady this life story, and it's kind of interesting, and it gets weird, and it gets iffy, and then it's like, is she lying, or is she telling the truth? So, yeah, the next, sorry, that was really bad. The next honorable mention is Beach Read by Emily Henry, who I actually met her friend. This is really weird lore. I was on the set of Turtle All the Way Down where I met John Green in 2022, and this girl was walking by getting her name's like the PA, and I was reading this book, and I was reading Book Lovers at the time, and she was like, oh my god, I know her, and I was like, you're fucking lying, and she was like, no, and I was like, sorry, I just like, that's crazy, I love Emily Henry. Anyway, but I gave Beach Read a 4-star. This is about Grumpy and Sunshine, do not remember their names. Is the name Wynn? I don't know. What are their names? Augustus and January. Crazy ass names. Sorry if anyone's Augustus or January. It's just two obscure names in one book. They're beautiful on their own. A romance writer who no longer believes in love, and a literary writer stuck in a rut, engaged in a summer-long challenge that may just upend everything they believe start a feud, and then she's like, I think Gus was like, whoever writes the best book gets, I don't fucking know. I don't remember. And she did January as writer's block. Was that good? Was that a good description? I thought so. Okay, the next book that I gave a 5, but I'm knocking it down a star to a 4, is Bright Young Woman by Jessica Knoll. This book is it's like a fictional retelling of the Ted Bundy massacre on the Chi Omega sorority in the 70s, 80s. One of those years, one of those decades. And it's really good. It follows the chapter president, how she deals with leading the girls after this happens in the attack and trying to figure out who did it. And it's also woven with another story of a friend's friend who was also a victim of Ted Bundy, and it showcases her story, and it's really just like her story throughout the entire book, but you know what's gonna happen, like you know she's gonna, because it's referenced in the present chapters that they're doing all the searching because, well, one of the people is doing all the searching because she wants to avenge her friend. I think her name was Ruth. But it's really good. This is also sapphic. But this is a really good book. I gave it a 5. I think I gave it a 5 because the shock at the end got me. Like, the emotional part of the end got me, but I think it's really like a 4.5 or a 4. But next, I'm surprised I didn't give this a 5-star. I was very picky in the beginning of the year. Next, we have Big Swiss by Jen Began. This was a 4-star. This is about a woman who is a sex therapist transcriber, and she starts falling in love with this woman's voice. Then she meets this woman in real life, and it follows their relationship. But she meets her in real life and doesn't tell her that she's a transcriber, so she knows all her darkest secrets, but is still engaging in a friendship with this woman. It's very funny. It's a comedy. It's contemporary. It's sapphic. There's a train. There's not even trains over here. But I really enjoyed it. So, give it a read if you feel so inclined. Okay, why is there a train sound? Whatever. The next book I didn't give a 5, but I think I would if I could go back, is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This is one of the books that has stuck with me all year long. This is like the only book that I wanted to pick back up all year. I adored it. It's about a woman. I talked about this on my TikTok, so go follow me on there. And Chelsea G. Summers commented and wished me happy birthday. Crazy. But this is about a woman who is a food reviewer who also likes to kill men and have a lot of sex. So it's really, really fun, and it showcases her killing these men and then the ways in which she cooks their bodies. It's pretty fun. I like this one a lot. I could not stop thinking about it. It's told in the form of a memoir, so I didn't understand that at first. It was kind of like weird, but then I got it, and I was like, okay, so this is like mega gun. But yeah, the next 4-star I had for the year was Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. You've heard about this. It's about a woman who witnesses her literary bestie choked to death on a pancake, and then she takes her manuscript and publishes it as her own. But she's white, and the friend who passed away was, I think, Asian American. And the book deals very heavily with her culture, so she makes her name more ambiguous and takes this manuscript and publishes it and tries to play it off, and it just follows her like spiraling into insanity. This was really interesting, kind of funny. It was so weird, and I hated our main character because you can't really, like, it's hard to like her. You can't really like her at all. And then I read this one last year, but I didn't film stuff last year, and I only read some books in December, so I'll just talk about it now. This is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I loved this book. I read it after I got out my breakup. Of course, you know about it. It's a memoir. It's about her life and friendship and everything she knows about love. Little vignettes about her life. was, drumroll please, Down the Drain by Julia Fox. My first 5-star of the year was in March. It's a memoir about the one and only Julia Fox. She's fucking crazy, and I love her. She just does a lot of shit, and it's so funny. It chronicles like her entire life, and it's just great. I adored this memoir. You should definitely pick it up. It's such an easy read. It's so fun. And I would highly recommend it. I love it. It's like so good. Okay, the next 5-star of the year. I don't have very many 5 stars, but it was The Library at Mount Jar. Oh my god. Stop it. This is about, I honestly cannot remember so much in this fucking book. It's like a fantasy adventure fiction mystery thriller. It's about these children who are raised by this man who seems to be God. And they have these special powers, like one can communicate with animals, one can telepathy, I don't know. They have like these powers. They were given these books to study from, and they were not to tell each other, and it's all the knowledge of the world. So it's all the different things like medicine and animals and all that stuff. But it's kind of like, so their dad goes missing, and they're like, what the fuck, because their dad is basically, he seems to be God. So it basically follows, and it's like, what the world be like if God was missing? And that's all I'll say, because it's so much. It's so good when you have no idea what's happening. It's so good. It's so good. I loved it. I read that one in March. Also, wait. Yeah, I read that one in March. The next one I gave 5 stars was The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I love this book. It's a great winter read if you feel like reading something in winter. This follows a woman, don't remember her name, sorry. And she and her best friend love this, I think her name was, I don't remember what her name was. She's this horror author, and these 2 girls adore her. They're friends of a falling out. But the author is having a writing retreat. Like 5 special authors get chosen to come to her house and write novels, and she'll help them workshop them and like be their mentor in this secluded mansion in the middle of nowhere in the middle of winter. And then a snowstorm happens, and the people start vanishing one by one. So it's really fun. And it's a exciting little fast-paced thriller. I personally loved it. But apparently not everyone does, just like every book. Not everybody loves every book. Obviously, my last video didn't show you that. I don't know what will. The next 5-star, I think this might be a 4. And it was the Powerless trilogy. I really liked it, but looking back, it's such a redone book. Like, it's not really that. I think the second book also really got me. I didn't love it as much anymore after reading the second book. But this book follows this woman, this girl named Peyton, and she is a ordinary. In this place, if you're ordinary, you get killed. And the king and his son enforce this. So Peyton is a pickpocket. And one day she pickpockets from, I told my brother not to scream, but he doesn't give a fuck, I guess. But she pickpockets from the king's son. And then so these people find him and try to kill the son, and then she's like, don't, with her like powers and her abilities. So then they're like, oh my god, you saved the king's son, you're the best. And then there's like her pictures all over the place, and they're like, you need to come compete in our trials for like a better life or some shit. I don't remember what it is, but so she goes to this kingdom. Meanwhile, she's pretending not to be an ordinary this whole time, showcasing her powers. I think her power is reading minds. I don't know. Her power is reading minds. I think, I cannot remember. But it follows them through this like Hunger Games as kind of trials, and I low-key started hating a trials moment. I don't like a trials. A trials once was fun, but a trials twice. Phantasma unfortunately got the sad end of the stick with the second trials that I had read, and I was like, okay, no more trials. I'm gonna kill them. So yeah, that's Powerless. The next 5-star I had was honestly the Sophia CA Archive. Just pretty obvious. It's just Sophia Coppola's picture book with some like notes and stuff about our movies and some letters and some scripts and some edits, and it was really fun. That one's always gonna be a 5. I mean, picture books are kind of hard to give less than a 5. The next 5 I gave out was Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. This book was so cunt. I adored this book. It's a horror, mystery, fiction, thriller. It's so fun. And it follows this girl who starts babysitting for this wealthy family and this son. And one day the son starts drawing really weird pictures. Like it says that the son draws a picture of a woman being dragged through the forest, and then the babysitter's like, what the fuck? Like, that's the... So it follows this woman trying to figure out, the babysitter trying to figure out what's really going on here, and if this, like, the things that are going on with this kid. That one's fun. I can't say too much or I'll give it away. The next one is Just for the Summer by Abby Menez. Love it. Love it. So good. It follows a travel nurse and a boy, and a man whose mother is going to prison. He's going to be the sole provider for his siblings, and they're young. It's like 3 young kids, and it follows her with her, they meet, so she sees Justin, what's his name? She sees Justin's post on Reddit, like, well, how come everybody who dates me gets married after we break up? It's a curse. And she sees his post and is like, oh my god, same, maybe we should date each other and make the curse break itself. So they try to do that for fun, like, they're like, okay, 2 dates, that's it. But, you know, obviously it's romance, we're not just gonna go on 2 dates, we're gonna fall in love or whatever. So it follows them, and it follows her and her commitment issues, and Justin and his responsibilities, and all that good stuff, and it was the best book I think I might have read this year. So good. The next 5-star I gave out, and this is when I'm changing to a 5-star, it's God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I think I know why I didn't give it 5 stars, but I was saying it's a 5-star. People hated this long ass book. It's 476 pages, so I understand people hated this book. This is about Lisa Van Laar. I feel like that's not her name. Something Van Laar. And the Van Laar is the family who owns the summer camp, and a few years ago their son went missing. And now this year at summer camp, they let Barbara Van Laar. They finally let their daughter come to the camp. Her name is Barbara, and then she goes missing, and it follows her and all these point of views and tries to figure out the mystery of back then when the son went missing, and the present day when the daughter went missing. Now people don't like this book. I read this book after my shifts at Target, after my 7-hour shift at Target in July, in the heat, like a gloomy, muggy, quiet, cicada-filled summer night. Like in my car, it was a little bit gloomy. It wasn't the sunniest week, and it was the perfect atmosphere for this book. It was so good. I read it in like 2 days, and I adored it. And people don't like it, but I loved it, and that's all that matters. My dad is moving around pots. Can we win? I don't think so. The next 5-star I have is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This one was so fun. This is a fiction thriller or mystery. It follows a woman who's like not babysitting, house sitting this beach house. And she reads this book on her Kindle and she fucking hates it, and she thinks this book is fucking horrible, and the author's like, no the fuck it isn't, you dumb cunt. And then she's like, yes the fuck it is. And then he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, what the fuck? Fuck you. And then things start being weird in the house. She starts hearing sounds, the floodlights start turning on in the middle of the night, like the motion sensor lights, and things start feeling when she feels eyes on her when she sleeps. And then it goes fucking bonkers. I read this in one night. It was so good. Adored it. It was so good. So good. You should totally read it if you have a chance. Is it wintry? It's very wintry, I think. Yeah, snowstorm. Yeah, I think it's a snowstorm happens. I don't remember. But very, very good. The next 5-star, Was It Nothing? That's my last 5-star. So thank you guys so much for watching this freaking video. I freaking love you. Bitch. I'm just kidding. I love you guys so much. And I will see you next freaking week with another video. It'll be the year in review, yearly wrap up. So I'm excited to see you for that. And it should be a really fun time. So I love you guys so much. Like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Storygraph, Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads if